In 1958, the 10-year-old state of Israel faced a geography that seemed impossible to defend. Its neighbors were no longer just hostile, they were actively coordinating a plan to strike from every direction at once. This map shows the result of the political merger between Egypt and Syria. This new United Arab Republic functioned as a single military entity, effectively placing Israel in a strategic vice that could be tightened from both the north and the south. The most dangerous blind spot was here, along the Syrian border. Israeli command had no way to see past the ridgeline of the Golan Heights, leaving them completely unaware of how many batteries or battalions were being positioned just miles from their Galilee settlements. Stationary observation posts along the border were useless against the hidden geography of the Golan. To map these defenses, Israel needed a ghost, someone capable of infiltrating the Syrian social hierarchy to watch the construction from the inside. The man chosen for this was Eli Cohen. He was an Egyptian-born Jew living a modest life as a clerk in Tel Aviv, appearing to everyone around him as an entirely ordinary citizen. Mossad recruited him in 1959 because he possessed a rare combination of skills: native fluency in multiple languages and an absolute mastery of specific Arabic dialects. He was considered a flawless blank slate. The operation required total isolation from his past. He told his wife and brother that he was traveling to Europe to buy equipment for the Ministry of Defense, maintaining this cover even during his brief visits home. Cohen accepted the mission knowing it meant erasing his true identity. For the next 3 years, he would live a lie to ensure the survival of his country. In deep cover espionage, an agent lives within a legend. This is a meticulously constructed false history, designed to survive the most intense background checks an enemy state can perform. To build this legend, Mossad sent Cohen to Buenos Aires in 1961. They needed him to establish his new identity thousands of miles away from the Middle East. He became Kamel Amin Thabit, a wealthy, charismatic Syrian expatriate who had made a fortune in textiles and remained a vocal, passionate supporter of his home country. Cohen spent heavily to enter elite Arab social circles in Argentina. He hosted lavish parties for diplomats and military attachés, eventually securing the high-level letters of recommendation he would need to enter Syria. This detour solved the problem of entry. By arriving from Argentina with the public backing of Syria's own wealthy expatriates, he was welcomed in Damascus as a successful son of the homeland returning to invest his fortune. Cohen arrived in Damascus in 1962 and quickly established himself as a prominent socialite. He rented a luxury apartment directly across from the Syrian army headquarters. His apartment became a hub for the Syrian elite. He hosted generals and high-ranking officials who felt comfortable drinking and discussing classified military gossip within the walls of a trusted patriot's home. His connections eventually granted him unprecedented access to the Golan Heights. This was a restricted military zone where even Syrian civilians were strictly forbidden. While touring the fortifications, Cohen pointed out how the Syrian soldiers were suffering in the direct heat. He suggested the military plant eucalyptus trees over the bunkers to provide shade and comfort for the troops. The military followed his advice immediately. Cohen then radioed the coordinates of this tree planting project back to Israel, knowing the trees would grow into permanent, visible markers for every hidden bunker. It was an act of extreme audacity. Cohen had successfully convinced the Syrian military to mark their own secret defenses, turning their fortifications into clear targets for future Israeli strikes. In January 1965, the risk finally caught up to him. Syrian security forces used Soviet direction-finding equipment to trace his morning radio transmissions directly to his apartment. Back in Israel, the truth emerged in the most devastating way. His family only learned of his double life when foreign news reports began broadcasting images of his arrest in Damascus. Despite international pleas for mercy, the Syrian government publicly executed Cohen in May 1965. The very traits that made him a master of deception, his unwavering dedication and ability to live entirely within his cover, ultimately led to his capture and the loss of his life. 2 years after his death, the 1967 Six-Day War began. Israeli pilots used Cohen's precise intelligence to launch a preemptive strike against the Northern Front. The eucalyptus trees worked exactly as intended. They allowed the Israeli Air Force to pinpoint and destroy the hidden Syrian bunkers, collapsing the Golan defenses in record time. The cost of this intelligence remains unresolved for the Cohen family. While Mossad recovered his wristwatch in 2018, his body has never been returned to Israel. The Mossad's motto warns that a nation falls without guidance. Cohen's work provided that clarity on the Golan Heights, turning 3 years of solitary risk into a decisive tactical advantage.